At some point in the last year, you've probably accused someone of the Dunning-Kruger effect. Maybe just in your head, maybe in an actual comment. Some guy online was loudly wrong about something. You thought, ah yes, classic Dunning-Kruger, and you moved on feeling a little smarter than him. Two problems of that. The researcher behind the effect says the study was always about you, the person doing the accusing. And the version of it you know, the one everybody knows, gets it wrong. By the end of this video, you'll know what the famous study actually found, why scientists have spent 10 years fighting about whether the effect is even real, and why feeling sure about something tells you almost nothing. The version you know probably goes like this. Stupid people think they're smart, and smart people think they're stupid. It might be the most repeated psychology fact on the internet, but almost nobody repeating it has read the actual study. So most of what people believe about this effect came from other people who also never read it. The next 10 minutes fix that, and around point 4, it starts to feel personal. Number 1, the bank robber who started all of this. And no, this story is not exaggerated. It's 1995, Pittsburgh. A man named MacArthur Wheeler robs 2 banks in one afternoon. Broad daylight, gun in hand, no mask. Instead, he's covered his face in lemon juice. His reasoning? Lemon juice works as invisible ink on paper, so it should make his face invisible to security cameras too. He smiles at the cameras on his way out. And here's the detail that makes him a legend. He tested it first. Before the robberies, Wheeler rubbed juice on his face and took a Polaroid of himself. The photo came back with no face in it, probably because he was as bad at photography as he was at robbing banks, which is what the police eventually concluded. But Wheeler looked at that blank photo and saw proof. Then he walked into 2 banks with the calm of a man wearing an invisibility cloak. He stayed free for 3 months. Then the police put the camera footage on the evening news and he was arrested within the hour. When officers showed him the photos of his extremely visible face, he said a sentence that started all of this. But I wore the juice. A psychology professor named David Dunning read about Wheeler in the newspaper, and one detail stuck with him. The confidence. Wheeler genuinely believed the plan had worked, so Dunning started wondering, maybe the same gap in Wheeler's head did 2 jobs at once. It made him bad at robbing banks, and it made him unable to notice he was bad at robbing banks. Dunning grabbed a student named Dunning-Kruger, and they decided to test it on normal people. Number 2. What the study actually found. Kruger and Dunning gave university students 3 kinds of tests. Logic, grammar, and whether they could tell which jokes were funny. Yes, a funny test. With official funny answers. The 90s were a different time. Then came the real experiment. After each test, every student had to guess how well they did compared to everyone else. The students with the worst scores thought they were doing great. On the joke test, the worst performers guessed they got about 7 out of 10 right. They got 2. And when asked to rank themselves against the other students, the bottom group placed themselves comfortably in the top half of the room. They were near the floor. The explanation is the famous part, and it's simple. Being bad at something comes with a bonus problem. The skill you'd need to notice you're bad is the same skill you're missing. If you can't tell a good joke from a bad one, you also can't tell whether your jokes are funny. Same equipment, and it's broken on both ends. Scientists call the checking ability metacognition. But forget the word. It's the part of your brain that grades your own homework. When you're bad at something, the grader is bad too. And then the study did something cool. They took the worst logic performers and taught them logic. Their scores went up, obviously, but something else happened. They suddenly saw how badly they'd done before. Getting better at the thing fixed the blindness as a side effect. So sit with that for a second as you, not as a study. Whatever you're bad at right now, you're probably also bad at noticing it, and you won't see it until you improve. A quick word about the graph. If you pictured this effect at any point in the last few minutes, you probably pictured the curve. Confidence shoots up early, crashes down into a valley, then slowly climbs back as you actually learn. The peak even has a name, Mount Stupid. That curve is nowhere in the study. The real result is 4 boring bars on a chart. Nobody knows who drew the famous version. It just appeared on the internet at some point, spread through office presentations and LinkedIn, and replaced the real finding in millions of heads, including the heads of people who explain things on camera for a living. So look at what happened there. Millions of people, fully confident about a study they never read, using it to call other people overconfident. The effect spent a decade demonstrating itself on itself. And this video was one fact check away from joining in. Number 3. The part where scientists started fighting. In 2016, a researcher named Ed Nuffer tried something sneaky. He reran the famous study with no people in it. He generated random numbers, pretended they were test scores and self-guesses, and pushed them through the same math. Out came nearly the same famous result. That's a big problem. If random numbers can produce your discovery, maybe you didn't discover anything about humans. Maybe you just discovered something about math. And the math problem is easy to see once someone points at it. Take the people with the lowest scores in the room. When they guess their own rank, their guess can only really miss in one direction. They're already at the bottom. Guessing below the bottom is impossible. So on a chart, the worst scorers will always look like wild overestimators, even if everyone in the room is just guessing badly at random. Part of the famous result is built into the setup. Dunning fought back, and he had real ammunition. Other researchers redid the study with the math problem removed, and the pattern shrank, but refused to die. And the real world keeps producing examples. In a 2003 study, medical students who scored a D or worse on their final exam had predicted, on average, a B. Those students are practicing doctors now. So where it honestly stands today, people are genuinely bad at judging themselves, and the worse you are at something, the more you tend to overshoot. But the dramatic internet version, where confident idiots are a separate species you can spot from across the room, was never real. Number 4. The one that's about you. This effect has no specific victims. It visits everyone, just in different rooms. You're skilled at some things and clueless at others, and from the inside, the clueless areas feel exactly like the skilled ones. A brilliant surgeon can be the least funny man alive, and have no idea. Dunning's own joke about it, the first rule of the club is that you don't know you're in it. And there's one situation where it bites hardest. Knowing nothing is actually safe. Ask someone the capital of Scotland, and if they have no clue, they'll just say, no clue. The brain reports an empty drawer honestly. The danger is knowing something wrong. If you believe the capital is Glasgow, you'll answer instantly and feel great about it. It's Edinburgh, by the way. A wrong answer sitting in your head feels identical to a right one. That's the whole trap in one sentence. Experts get their own version of this. When someone genuinely smart in one field wanders into a different field, the confidence comes along, but the knowledge stays home. Being smart in one area creates the feeling of being smart everywhere. That feeling lies. You can't check yourself for this. Knowing the effect exists doesn't protect you, because the broken part is the exact part you'd use to do the checking. Wheeler knew about cameras. He'd planned around them. The mistake lived in the planning department. And these days, the mistakes go public. A 2021 study by Lyons found that the people worst at spotting fake news were also the most likely to share it. Being wrong used to stay inside your head. Now it posts. The fix is boring, which usually means it works. Stop trusting the feeling of being sure, because that feeling shows up for right answers and wrong ones alike. Test yourself before it counts. Try the thing small first. Ask someone who actually knows. Almost nobody does this, because doing it means admitting you might currently be the guy with juice on his face. One loose end. The study found a second group judging themselves wrong at the other end of the scale. The best performers ranked themselves too low. They assumed that if the test felt easy to them, it must have felt easy to everybody. That pattern has its own name, its own research, and its own way of quietly wrecking careers. If you've ever been good at something and still convinced you're fooling everyone, that video is going to feel like surveillance.